Imagine you are holding a cup of tea. You hold it out to a wise master asking for wisdom. The master begins to pour more tea into your cup. The liquid rises to the rim, but he does not stop. He keeps pouring. The tea overflows. It spills onto the saucer. It runs down your hand. It drips onto the floor. It is a mess. You shout, "Stop! The cup is full. No more will go in." The master looks at you and smiles gently. He says, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" We live our lives terrified of being empty. We spend decades collecting degrees, titles, beliefs, and habits like they are trophies. We think that to grow means to add more. More books read, more strategies learned, more money earned. But what if the reason you feel stuck right now is not because you don't know enough? What if the reason you are exhausted is not because you haven't done enough? What if the problem is that your cup is simply too full? Welcome to Mira's English podcast. I am Mira. Today we are not going to learn anything new. In fact, we are going to do something much harder. We are going to unlearn. We are going to empty the cup. If you are listening to this in a quiet room, or on your commute, or maybe just before you sleep, I invite you to take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Today, we explore the art of unlearning to relearn. Let us be honest with each other for a moment. How heavy does your mind feel right now? I want you to visualize your life as a house. When we are born, this house is empty. It is spacious. It is full of light. But from the moment we learn to speak, the world begins to fill our house with furniture. Our parents tell us what is right and wrong. Our teachers tell us what success looks like. Society gives us a script. They tell us that happiness looks like a stable job, a perfect marriage, and a retirement plan. They tell us that being emotional is weak. They tell us that resting is lazy. By the time we are 25 or 30, our house is so full of this old furniture that we can barely move. We bump into old beliefs every time we try to walk. We trip over fears that don't even belong to us. And then we decide we want to change. We want to be happier. We want to be freer. So what do? We go out and buy new furniture. We read self-help books. We listen to motivational speakers. We try to bring this beautiful modern sofa into a living room that is already stacked to the ceiling with old broken chairs. It does not fit. This is why self-improvement often feels so frustrating. You are trying to build a new life on top of a foundation that is already cracking. You are trying to run a new software on an operating system that hasn't been updated since you were 7 years old. The result is not growth. The result is just noise. The result is anxiety. The philosopher Lao Tzu once said that to attain knowledge, add things every day. But to attain wisdom, remove things every day. Unlearning is not about forgetting. It is not about erasing your memories or becoming ignorant. Unlearning is the act of choosing that something you once believed to be true is no longer serving you. It is the brave act of looking at a belief that has kept you safe for years and realizing it is now a cage. But why is this so difficult? Why do we cling to our suffering? There is a concept in psychology called the sunk cost fallacy. This term describes our tendency to continue with something just because we have already invested time, money, or effort into it, even if it is clearly not working. Imagine you are waiting for a bus. You have waited for 30 minutes. The bus has not come. You know you could walk home in 20 minutes, but you tell yourself, "I have already waited 30 minutes. If I leave now, that time was wasted." So you wait another 30 minutes. And another. We do this with our beliefs. You have spent 10 years believing that you must work 60 hours a week to be worthy of love. You have sacrificed your health and your joy for this belief. Now, if someone tells you that you are worthy of love even when you do nothing, your brain rejects it. Because if that is true, then all your past suffering was unnecessary, and that is a very painful thing to admit. So we hold on to the heavy cup. we hold on to the burning coal, not because we like the pain, but because the pain is familiar. The pain is part of our identity. I want to tell you a story about elephants. When a circus elephant is a baby, the trainers tie it to a wooden stake in the ground with a heavy chain. The baby elephant pulls and pulls, but it is not strong enough to break the chain. Eventually, it gives up. It learns a lesson. I cannot escape. Years pass. The elephant grows into a massive, powerful creature. It could easily rip a tree out of the ground. But the trainers still tie it to the same small wooden stake with the same flimsy rope. The elephant never tries to escape. Why? Because in its mind, the limitation is still real. It has learned helplessness. You and I are not so different. We are held back by ropes that were tied around us when we were small. Maybe you were told you were too loud when you were a child. So now you are afraid to speak up in meetings. Maybe you were told that money is the root of all evil. So now you subconsciously sabotage your own financial success. Maybe you watched your parents fight, so you learned that love equals conflict. These are the ropes. They are not real anymore. You are big enough to break them. But first, you must see them. You must realize that the rope is not made of steel. It is made of memory. To understand how to break these ropes, we have to look at the brain. For a long time, scientists thought the adult brain was fixed, like hardened concrete. They believed that once you reached a certain age, you could not change your personality or your deep habits. But we now know this is false. We have a beautiful capability called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Think of your brain like a dense forest. If you walk the same path every single day, the grass gets trampled down. The path becomes wide and easy to walk on. This is a habit. This is a deep-seated belief. When you try to think differently, it is like trying to walk through the thick bushes where there is no path. It is difficult. It is scratchy. It is slow. Your brain screams at you, "Go back to the easy path. Go back to the road we know." This is why unlearning feels like a battle. You are literally fighting against the physical landscape of your own mind. But here is the good news. If you stop walking the old path, eventually, the grass grows back. The path disappears. And if you keep walking the new path day after day, it becomes the new highway. So the question is not, can I change? The question is, am I willing to endure the discomfort of walking through the bushes until the new path forms? Now, you might be asking, Mira, this sounds wonderful, but what exactly am I supposed to unlearn? We live in a world that is obsessed with addition, but I want us to practice subtraction. I have identified 3 major pillars of toxic conditioning that most of us carry. These are the 3 lies that we need to delete from our hard drive before we can install anything new. Let's look at the first one. Item number 1, unlearning linear progress. We are taught that life is a staircase. You take step 1, then step 2, then step 3. You go to school, you get a job, you get promoted, you retire. We expect healing to be a straight line. We expect that if we meditate for a week, we should feel better. If we work out for a month, we should look perfect. And when we have a bad day, when we slide back into old habits, we think we have failed. We think we have fallen down the stairs. This linear thinking is a trap. Nature does not move in straight lines. Trees do not grow in straight lines. Rivers do not flow in straight lines. They spiral. They curve. They ebb and flow. Healing is the same. It is cyclical. You might feel like you have conquered your anxiety, and then suddenly, on a Tuesday afternoon, it hits you again. The old you would say, I have failed. I am back at square one. But the unlearned mind says, no. I am not at the beginning. I am just at a different part of the spiral. I have been here before, but now I have new tools. I have a new perspective. Unlearning linear progress means giving yourself permission to be messy. It means accepting that taking one step backward does not erase the 10 steps you took forward. It just means you are dancing, not marching. We treat our lives like a military march. Left, right, forward, always forward. But a soul that is marching cannot hear its own song. You need to stop marching so you can start listening. This brings us to the second and perhaps the most dangerous lie we have been fed. This is the one that leads to burnout. This is the one that keeps us awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling. It is the belief that your productivity is equal to your self-worth. We treat our bodies like machines that are built to run 24 hours a day. We measure a good day by how many items we checked off our to-do list. We feel guilty when we sit down to watch a movie. We feel anxious when we are on vacation. Somewhere along the way, we learned that rest is a reward that you must earn. We learned that if you are not producing, you are not valuable. This is a lie. You are not a machine. You are a biological organism. You are like a garden. A garden does not bloom all year round. It has seasons. It has spring for growth and summer for blooming. But it also has winter. In winter, the garden looks dead on the surface. But underneath the soil, the roots are resting. They are gathering nutrients. They are preparing. If you forced a rose bush to bloom in the middle of a snowstorm, you would kill it. Yet this is exactly what we do to ourselves when we refuse to rest. So, unlearning productivity means redefining what it means to be doing something. When you are resting, you are not doing nothing. You are repairing, you are integrating, you are healing. That is productive. Now we arrive at the third item. This is the hardest one to let go of because it protects our ego. Item number 3, unlearning the fear of being wrong. From the time we are in school, we are taught that being right is good and being wrong is bad. If you get the answer right on the test, you get an A. If you get it wrong, you fail. We carry this into adulthood. We build our identities around our beliefs. We say things like, I am the kind of person who believes this political view. Or, I am the kind of person who follows this diet. When someone challenges that belief, we feel attacked. We feel like our very survival is threatened. So we fight back. We double down. We refuse to listen. But here is the truth. If you never admit you are wrong, you can never learn anything new. The most intelligent people in the world are not the ones who have all the answers. They are the ones who are most willing to say the 3 magic words. I was wrong. Think of your mind like a map of a city. You drew this map 10 years ago. But since then, the city has changed. New roads have been built. Old bridges have collapsed. If you insist on using your old map because you are afraid to admit it is outdated, you will get lost. Unlearning the fear of being wrong means realizing that changing your mind is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of evolution. It means your map is getting more accurate. So, what happens when you start doing this work? You stop believing that success is linear. You stop defining yourself by your productivity. You admit you might be wrong about everything. Suddenly, the house is empty. The old furniture is gone, but the new furniture has not arrived yet. This is the scariest part of the process. I call this the void. The void is that space between who you were and who you are becoming. It is a space of uncertainty. It is a space of confusion. You might feel lonely because you no longer resonate with your old friends, but you haven't met your new tribe yet. You might feel bored because you are no longer addicted to drama and busyness. Most people reach the void and they panic. They think something has gone wrong. They rush to fill the space back up with noise, with distractions, with old habits. Please, if you are in the void right now, do not run away. Imagine a trapeze artist in the circus. To swing from one bar to the next, there is a moment where she must let go of the first bar before she can catch the second one. For a split second, she is holding on to nothing. She is floating in midair. That moment of floating is where the magic happens. That is where you learn to trust yourself. You realize that you do not need the old structures to hold you up. You can fly. Stay in the emptiness for a while. Let it be quiet. Listen to the echo in your own mind. It is in this silence that you will finally hear your own voice. Not your mother's voice, not your boss's voice, yours. And once you have sat in the silence long enough, the final phase begins, relearning. This is where the fun begins. Now that your cup is empty, you get to choose what to pour into it. But this time, you are not pouring in what society tells you. You are pouring in what feels true to you. There is a beautiful concept in Japanese Zen Buddhism called Shoshin. This word translates to beginner's mind. It refers to having an attitude of openness, eagerness, and lack of preconceptions when studying a subject, even when studying at an advanced level. When you are an expert, your mind is full. You think you know how things work, so you stop looking. But when you are a beginner, you look at everything with wonder. You ask questions. You are curious. To relearn life, you must adopt this beginner's mind. Look at your relationships with fresh eyes. Ask yourself, why do I love this person? Is it because I truly enjoy them, or because I am afraid of being alone? Look at your career. Ask yourself, why am I doing this work? Is it because it lights me up, or because it impresses other people? When you rebuild your life from this place of curiosity instead of fear, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken. You are no longer living a scripted life. You are improvising. You are creating art. I want to leave you with a small practice today. I call it the belief audit. Sometime this week, I want you to take a piece of paper and write down 3 things you believe to be absolute truths about your life. It could be something like, I am not a creative person, or I must make a lot of money to be secure, or I am too old to start over. Look at these sentences, and for each one, ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1, is this actually true? Question 2, who told me this? Was it a parent, a teacher, a hurtful ex-partner? Question 3, does this belief make my life expansive, or does it make my life small? If the belief makes you feel small, I want you to visualize yourself thanking it for trying to protect you, and then gently setting it down on the side of the road. You do not need to carry it any further. My friends, the journey of unlearning is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Every morning you wake up and your cup has a little bit of dust in it. Every day the world tries to fill you up with new fears and new expectations. Your job is to keep emptying the cup. It takes courage to be the one who steps off the treadmill. It takes courage to say, I do not know the answer. It takes courage to let go of who you were, to make space for who you are. But I promise you, the lightness you will feel is worth it. When you drop the heavy baggage of other people's expectations, you will realize that you have always had wings. You just forgot how to use them because you were carrying so much weight. Unlearn the heaviness. Relearn the flight. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. Thank you for being brave enough to sit in the void. If this episode resonated with you, if it helped you identify a rope that is holding you back, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me one thing you are ready to unlearn this year. I am Mira. This has been a session of unlearning. Until next time, keep your mind open and keep your cup empty.